So we're starting off with Jimi Hendrix. Is that sort of, is that?
I played it on Inauguration Day. That was my Inauguration Day song.
We were just talking about him, and he lived down the road next to Handel. Not at the same time. There's a Jimi Hendrix museum just on Brook Street.
Oh, okay.
They shared a wall. Right?
They shared a wall. Their apartments were next door to each other 100 years apart, but I believe Jimi Hendrix was aware of it. Anyway, sorry.
Jimi Hendrix was definitely aware of it.
Yeah.
Starting with some good culture.
I think you wrote Messiah in there. Is that right? I don't know.
Not sure.
Bit of a nostalgia trip for me as well. Borrowers. When I was young, that was like a real treat for me. It was like a TV show, BBC.
The Return of the Borrowers.
Return of the Borrowers.
I was in the second one, wasn't I?
Yes, with the house made of playing cards.
That's right. And I was an outdoor, but I was allowed to go outside, wasn't I?
Wait, is this based off the books?
Mm.
Yeah,
I read the books. I read the books.
So did I. They were quite frightening.
But imaginative.
It's a big euphemism. They were thieves, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah. They were lovable thieves. Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't very nice, actually.
No,
I was kind of an evil one.
Yeah.
Ditchley. Yeah, I wasn't very nice to Ian Holm.
But September the 5th, how are you both doing, with the whole release? It's nice to see you again.
It's been lovely, hasn't it? Because we made it 2 years ago now.
Really? Yeah.
And it's just really nice when you do something that you all admire and wish and hope the best for.
And get to, we finish these little films most of the time, and you really think you're never going to see the film or the other person again.
Yeah.
This happens all the time. And so I think every bit of success that it's had has just been a really pleasant surprise, and also a great opportunity to see people that we like. Hanging out with.
Oh, it doesn't happen that often.
This is true. So what was the sort of first impressions when you both sort of got your hands on the script? What made you think, okay, I've got to do this project? I mean, obviously the story is fascinating.
For me, it really wasn't the script, although the script was very good. It was quite dry and a little bit difficult. It had like
a hard read.
Yeah, a hard read. It had technical stuff in it. It had documentary allusions. It was like kind of a mix.
Full of information. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of information.
And I'd run into Sean Penn before doing it. He's executive producer. So I was reading it with in my head that he was executive producing it, which puts a little bit of a spin on it.
I mean, a great person to collaborate
you worked with Sean, haven't you?
Yeah. And my first movie was with Sean. So, yeah. And then meeting Tim, just this irascible guy who was just like a terrier in terms of going after the information. Like, I actually think Tim would be a decent journalist.
Oh, yeah.
Because the way he collects detail and remembers it and doesn't change it.
Yeah.
We all have this habit of telling a better story. He doesn't have that one.
He doesn't embellish, no.
Super accurate.
Super accurate. And he'll correct people in Q&As and stuff, won't he? And he's incredibly detailed.
Yeah, he got asked in an interview the other day with me. They said, the interviewer said, well, the Israelis had offered their help before the hostage crisis, right? And they turned it down. And he went, I'm not aware of that. I don't think that's probably accurate, but I don't know it
No
at all. I do know that they offered their help after. And the journalist kept going. He said, well,
He'll keep his mind on an enormous amount of things and come back to it. He'll always come back to something. He does always want everything to be as clear as possible.
He always does look a little bit distracted by the story of the film while he's talking to you.
Okay.
Filmmakers, quite common in filmmakers. They're really spinning a lot of plates. So it is quite hard for them to give a simple answer to things because they're thinking about
they've got like
be multi-layers.
Yeah, they're like looking at the horizon and you're whispering in their ear.
Yeah,
they're like,
super observant, but observant about these decisions that are made here, how they will impact over there.
No, he would eat like,
Yeah. And he's still like it. He's still laser focused.
So what was, was it that sort of grabbed you as well?
Yeah, it was partly him.
Is it that sort of focus on the details and knowing, okay, I'm going to jump into this historical event and this guy really knows what he's talking about rather than we're going to get this wrong or we're going to, offend people or annoy people?
It's a bit, also Pied Piper, like Peter's doing it. Sean Penn's producing it. John Magaro, I'm a big fan of him. Leone Benesh, they're all attached when I got sent it. So,
right.
So it's a bit like,
very appealing.
Yeah, I'm not going to say no. So even if I hadn't liked it, it'd be like, well, hang on, I must be missing something. But no, I read it and it wasn't an easy read. It's not something where you go, I can see how this will be. It's like, will this be very dry? It's about something tragic, but will this be very could this be a very faithful but dull account? You know, and then you meet Tim, or remotely by Zoom. It was still ends of COVID. It was, and you know, we had to. The whole crew were masking as we shot, but yeah, he was. You know, he was. You go, oh, he's got something on this. He's very passionate about this, and his attention to detail, the script's attention to detail, and respect for the individuals was such that you're like, this could be. Wasn't certain what it would be, but now seeing the film, it does. Your instincts were right that this was saying something quite important, I think.
And what about sort of finding those personal edges, you know, to the script? Because you're thrown into such a pressure cooker sort of environment. So I know it's very much about the goals and the scenes and you know the tension of all that. What about sort of finding the nicer sides of your characters, or the sides that you can justify?
There's no time for any of that. No. And I think that's one of the great things about the script is it doesn't allow you personal embellishment.
I mean, I got a couple of those moments, didn't I? So people, you know, Marvin Bader got a couple of those moments, which may or may not have been accurate, but it seemed right for somebody who's a troubleshooter. That's their job to troubleshoot.
I remember having like conversations like this. I mean, some of the simple stories you could tell, for example, are like, at that point, Rune was quite a wealthy man. And there was a discussion about like what watch I would wear, how I would dress and stuff. And I'm, you know, you're wearing one outfit for the whole movie. So everything is very simplified in terms of storytelling. And I remember saying like, I think it all should just look like a white t-shirt or white shirt, nothing. Really, like you can't tell whether it's high class or low class. It could be a nice shirt, we can't tell.
Yeah.
And then I said, and maybe a nice watch, which you almost never see.
Yeah.
So like, just, you know, it's not like we're trying to tell a huge story, and because you could do an outfit where you're like, well, he's still in his tuxedo from the previous night, you know?
Yeah. No, the story was much bigger than the individuals involved, and that was reflected in the cast too, and the crew. It was a genuinely collaborative. Filmmaking, I think, is the most collaborative art form in the world. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even more so than dance, to a certain degree, because you have the technical nature of covering it. And it can't be done without everybody there.
And no one was trying to be too clever.
Nobody.
No.
You know what I mean? There's never a moment where like, you know, it'd be really great is if you walked through the doors, I was going the other way, had like a boom moment, and then we...
Yeah, it was well-intentioned and honest at all times.
Yeah.
Was there even any need to sort of create a backstory between your characters in terms of like what your relationship...
No, that became what our relationship was within the making of the movie.
Okay, so the actual, you know, sort of trial by fire, you're in the thing. Okay, yeah, this is his perspective. This is my perspective. We're going through the.
We also had like instant history because, like, I mean, we barely knew each other, but we did have a very strong connection in this acting teacher. I had certainly followed him. I mean, my acting teacher talked about him all the time.
And she talked about him. She would do that, and it made you part of a sort of a stable. I mean, it sounds like a cult.
So I would
agree it wasn't.
Whatever he did, if Ben Chaplin were in it, I would.
And the same with Peter's wife. You know, she worked with. Her name was Penny Allen. Yeah. We all worked with her, and she, to all of us, was sort of life-changing. Certainly to me, definitely life-changing. A mentor and a friend, a genuine friend for over 20 years. So we had that. So when it's a bit,
and I suppose you know you're connected in the process as well.
You know your process.
You're not going to be like acting against a brick wall.
100%.
You know how to.
Yeah, and it's not method or anything like that.
Yeah,
you just know your sensibilities will be similar, and sensibility is the absolute biggest thing when you're working.
Yeah.
Just as a last sort of question, any good notes or bad notes you remember? Not from this film, obviously, if we're going bad notes, but like just memorable bits of direction tips for like directors working with actors.
Well, like
less is more. Less is definitely more.
Yeah.
What I would say to a director is let them if you got time, they keep doing it. They'll get to where you want eventually if they're any good, and it'll be much better than if you told them to do it.
Great.
God, I've heard so many bad. It's just like a bad piece of direction.
Bad piece of direction. Don't do this sort of thing.
Louder, funnier, things like that.
Yeah.
Be funnier. Be funnier.
I mean, you know, frequently it's like a director who will make a comment about your physical appearance right before you go on.
Word.
And you know that those pants are a little tight on you.
The worst. Yeah.
The pants are. You think the pants are tight on me? Let's just shoot it.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much.
Put you in your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that my pants are too tight on me?
I find abstract notes to be better. So it'd be something that's just personal. But I like something about. I mean, Francis Ford Coppola gave me a note about time, about the quality of time that was so powerful to me. Terrence Malick gave me a note about the impossibility, the incommunicability of grief.
Wow.
Something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So did you feel that?
Yeah.
So then you just do it and that's in there and it's like, that's a note.
I had a director say, you'll have to bleep this, but I had a director come up to me before I take, and it actually really helped my performance. It sounds awful. But she said, why are you acting like a pussy? I thought I'd hired a man.
Oh my God.
Action. Don't do that.
Do you know what Coppola was this? Coppola did this with Val Kilmer, said to me, what did he say? He goes, 30 years older and way more English. Action. And you got Val Kilmer opposite you.
But, well, you know what I did after that line from that director is I was like, in the scene, I was just like,
yeah, I know. Yeah, so she wanted that. She fucks with you. She fucks with you.
I mean, we've got to wrap up. Sorry. I'm killing the guys on the time. So, it's been lovely to chat to you.
Yeah, likewise.
Really, really nice tips at the end, though. Thank you. That's, we don't get that sort of stuff much. So
no worries. It's all personal, though. What works for one might not work for another.
Exactly, but it's valuable. Very valuable.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you. Cheers.